Did you push it?
Yep. All right, we're recording. Welcome to
Okay.
Vet Talk
Right,
with
should be Sean.
Ryan Doi and
And Mike Benge and Nurse Chibi.
Mm.
Nurse Chibi, say hello.
Such a cute little
Yeah,
cat.
hi, sweetie.
That's just a
hmm
cute cat.
So hopefully today I'm going to be more on my personal level on talking about my experience what happened this past couple of days, to include my ex-wife from years and years ago. She's crazy as hell. But other than that, Ryan, go ahead and start, if you
All right.
please.
Yeah.
So
I'll be right back.
this episode, I'm focusing on therapies, and the reason why I'm focusing on therapies is because seems like not a lot of people are getting what they need. So I went through the different forms of therapies. So we have equine therapy. In equine therapy, horses are used to calm down a person with anxiety by focusing on the horse. It's supposed to help you focus, just you with the animal. This gives you a purpose. Also, it helps you understand empathy, feelings, helping you read, just like how you were um, pre-combat, combat. It helps you with your awareness, helps you with your focus, and helps you with your vigilance. It's you caring for another living being. Uh, Horses have also been known as the new kind of battle buddies. Uh, it is still considered experimental. And a lot of veterans either get ranches or have been invited to ranches for the therapy. I do not know if this is a VA approved therapy. I could look into it. But I do know that some ranches in certain states will um, have you apply for it if you can, and leave that they do it for free, or they subsidize it. You just got to pay a little bit for it. The other one is special. I call it specialist therapy, and we all know this one. Okay, this is the one where you go to the therapist. You either get talked down to, you get talked up to. Some therapists, they're good. VA system can help, does help. Um, other therapists, yeah, you do need to take them out back and execute them because they are horrible. I mean, they are freaking horrible. Um, I get it, guys. Someone who hasn't been through the military or combat, non-combat, shit, boot camp, AIT, never drawn a weapon, anything like that. Doesn't have high anxiety, doesn't know what, high anxiety is, let alone the nightmares that keep you awake or will keep you awake, wake you up, just all that stuff. All right. So I get it. These therapists through the VA, how many of them are, former military? How many of them are veterans? It doesn't seem like a lot. It seems like a lot are just, uh, kids trying to get their fellowship, or they've been in
Yeah, they're
the,
going through the paces. That's how it
yeah,
feels.
or they've been in a practice for 6 years and decide that they want to step up, be a good human being, and help the veterans. I think that if you don't do the specialist therapy, guess what, guys, ladies, there's a peer group. All right. In this one, I've been to 2 peer groups, and honestly, I did like it. But you guys, peer group works when you let it work. You know, you get into a circle. This can be done at the VA. Certain VAs, they'll do peer groups. It's you, a group of people. Guess what? You don't want to share that day? Fine. You don't need to. Listen to everybody else's stories. See how they're making themselves vulnerable, but at the same time, they keep their guard up. You don't have to go full vulnerable. All right. I look at everybody and this podcast and Mike and certain people as battle buddies. They are keeping me going. All right. It's what a peer group is for. Guess what? You don't have to consider them battles, but you can consider them acquaintances. Just like if you were to check into a new command. All right. You got your buddies. All right. Maybe then they become battles after a while. You know, and it doesn't have to be a full group. You know, you can take this outside too. So a bar, arcade, movie. You know, it helps us out. Lessens the load. You know, you have to find the person that you click with. You know, a little bit, a lot, it doesn't matter. You find that click, you hold on to that buddy. In time, hell, they can become a battle, they can become a brother, they can become a sister, they can become anything. The reason why I brought this up is because I was reading on the 22, I think Friday, that another one is gone. So guess what? If you don't want to go to the VA and do that therapy, fine, go to a peer group. You know, I used to do peer groups at work too. Before, after work, I would go find the other veterans. We'd chat, we'd smoke, we'd, you know, do whatever we needed to decompress. Peer groups do work. It'll work for you guys. I mean, maybe some of you. But I know that we can battle this without having to do rough meds, without having to, you know, go crazy. Another one, music therapy. This one is a very new one. And I've got 3 artists that I do listen to. These guys do music as therapy. So one of them is Soldier Heart. He's a former U.S. Army tanker, rap artist, owns his own company, Redcon 1. He has a lot of artists. You got J Deuce. He's a Marine, active duty. You got Stephen Hobbs, S. Hobbs. He's Army. I believe he's infantry, and he's active duty. Then you got Sergeant Dunson. He's Army, or former Army. He's an Army veteran, and he does a lot with politics. I'll put him. I'll put his Twitter up. I'll put Soldier Heart's Twitter up. J Deuce's. I'll put Stephen Hobbs's. Last one is someone I served with in the Navy in Bahrain. Dustin D. Rose. That's actually the music that we have at the beginning and the end of the show. That's all his. That's the music he does. So, he gave me his permission. Said, okay, you can do that. You can use my music. I'm like, cool, thank you.
Appreciate it.
I don't, right? Thank you, God. Another one is Elliot McKenzie. He was a Marine. He's got one song. I don't think he's got an album out yet. I know he's got one song. It's called Gunshots. It's a good one, a very good one. And he also does a feature with another Marine. He's known as the Marine Rapper, or TMR. He does good stuff. I've got 2 of his albums. I love his albums. I'm waiting for the next one to come out when he does it. Very good one. I love it. And hey, maybe hip hop's not your thing. Maybe country's your thing. You know, music therapy I have seen does work, does help. If you want to, guess what? If you got a day off at work, go find a studio.
Only needed a fucking screwdriver, dude.
Go make a song. Go do a song. Go to a studio, make an album. Therapy does not always have to be intrusive. It can stop when you want it to. Though, with the suspicions that we face and that we give with a little guilt, we should never forget that the selfish side of us gets the best of us. We are family even if we are generations apart. Speaking to people or even family who served will help you when you need it. It can be considered a miracle if you let it work. And now more than anything, we need a miracle in our lives. With the days running and the months passing, we are given nothing but death. And with the days passing, we must know and understand that we are here for each other. What you got?
That was actually pretty good.
Was it pretty good?
That was actually pretty damn good. Where'd you get that?
Actually,
Where'd you get that last
because
segment?
that soldier killed himself on Friday. He was a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
He killed himself. So I'm fucking sick of it. If it's not a soldier, it's a fucking sailor.
Okay,
If it's not a sailor, it's a Marine. If it's not that, it's an Air Force guy.
It's a brother and sisters in arms. Either way, that's how I always look at it as.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse Nurse Chibi. She likes to be with me all the time. That's something that you're going to have to get accustomed to. You see all those little dolls? Those are my mom's. So that never gets taken down since she deceased. So I went to Baltimore a couple of days ago for my Social Security disability insurance, and let me tell you, there's 4 people in there: the stenographer, the judge, the lawyer, and then a union labor representative, which I didn't get to see her. She was on video, but she was behind me and the camera was turned off, so I couldn't see her, but we got to speak to her. I made 2 concessions when we came in there because I knew it was going to be a small building or a small room. And I said, hey, is it possible that, I said, I don't care about the Privacy Act. Could you crack the door open and leave it? And he goes, are you claustrophobic? I said, no. It's just when you go to room clearing, sometimes you'll be surprised when something gets thrown in that room when you're trying to clear that room, like the little holes in the ceiling and dropping grenades. That after one or two times of those, I always get leery. And if you don't give me a room with a window, I always have to try to get myself an escape plan. That's always the thing in my head. So they gave me that concession, which was fine. They made the lawyer prop open the door and everything. I said, thank you. I need that. And then like every 15 to 20 minutes, I get really antsy and I have to wash my hands and my face because, being a medic, you're always covered in blood and everything else. And for me, that was very difficult. I stayed there. We did a whole hour. I didn't move, but I was shaking. The reason why I was shaking, actually, because when they were doing everything, it was like in the third person. They were talking about me as if I wasn't there, and when you take little things, and it's true, when they say, all the little things add up. And for once, I realized I had a lot of little things and those little things came in like a giant tsunami, and it hit me harder every time. And then there's the big things that happened, like like the situation with my with my soon-to-be ex-wife. Um, and that thing hit me hard because they were talking about my coping mechanisms and how I'm trying to cope and everything else and everything. So that hit me. It's like being in a storm in the crushing waves of the ocean, and you never get your chance to stick your head up in time. And I found that more and more harder to listen to. After a while, I had to take my glasses off, and I was almost in tears because I felt useless, and I felt humiliated, and I felt degraded, and they were trying the whole time to tell me not to be that way. It's okay, but it's hard when you think about it, because you don't get taught this kind of stuff. Excuse me for covering the phone. You don't get taught this kind of stuff when you get out of the military, in the service.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get taught how to try to survive and integrate. You do it on your own by a few things, trial and error, and then you do have those things that you're talking about. I'm glad you pulled all those things up, but those things weren't talked about back then.
Yeah.
And there's an incident also that resonated, that Fort Lewis a couple of years back, and it got brought up again. In fact, it was in Tacoma, a gentleman in Tacoma, when they were talking about how they would rush them through after deployments and not really let them get the help that they need. And I was like, well, we were there when that happened. It was like a giant cattle call, and they were like, you don't have PTSD, you don't have anything wrong with you. And I had a limp, I had fractured ankles from my deployment, and they were like, well, we could keep you for another 6 months. And they were making it so that they would intimidate you to just get done and get it over with, go back to your duty station or get out or whatever. And I wanted to be with my girlfriend at the time, which is now my wife, to be with her. I really wanted to be with her, and that was the driving force, which made things worse. Thank goodness that years later she made me go through it and took all the things that we've learned and made the lesson out of it, and actually got what I needed for help.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you, when I was done after that hour, they commended me, but I felt like a piece of shit. I felt like I had no value anymore, and then the judge said, he goes, from July until now, I noticed you don't have any doctor's appointments or any therapy, or what happened. You just stopped. I said, well, I moved to Florida, where I'm at right now, to be with my dad, because my birthday and my mom's passing happened to be like a day apart. It was September 26th and September 27th is when my mom passed away. So I decided I wanted to come and visit him after I was released from the hospital for my attempted suicide in July.
Mm-hmm.
So I packed up everything and I left. And then I told him we were in the middle of a hurricane, and he goes, do you have anything in place for the VA? I said, yeah, we did. We had a plan, but now they're all gone because the VA was having all these issues. I felt sorry for the people at the VA, because half the people couldn't work there because they were gone, because their house was gone. They had to evacuate. They're not coming back, not for a long time. So the judge understood. He was like, wow, okay, that explains why you're not getting any help. And my meds are being sent by Dr. Linden up in Baltimore, which I love him to death. I call him up and said, hey, I need this, I need that. Without question, he knows what's going on. And I did tell you about my EpiPens, right? The situation with my EpiPens. Yeah. I got new EpiPens, which I'm very happy. So now I don't have to worry about dying if it gets on my throat or in my face. So that was a good thing. And I was scared because I thought TSA was going to take them away from me as soon as I entered the airport. I explained to them, I said, please don't take them, because somebody else did. at Baltimore, and they're like, oh, we won't do that to you. We won't do that. I promise, and I explained that to the judge too. I was like, yeah, I had my EpiPens taken away and destroyed right there in front of me. And the judge was like, wow, that's not cool. But the whole time they were talking in the third person, as if I was there, they were giving hypothesis of what ifs. If I had this job, could I do this? And I can't do things because I still need physical therapy for my legs. And when they say bend your knees when you lift, I can't do that. And my leg brace actually prevents me from bending so far. Bend your knees when you lift. I can't do that. And then, of course, and they were looking at all my medical records. They have everything and anything from the day I got in 2005 until current. And they were looking at how many appointments I had to go to a month. And the labor person said, well, most companies will only allow you to go once a month. In his situation, he was gone 3 times a week at worst. At best, it was once a week or once every 2 weeks. I think that's what it was. So, once again, all those things to me added up. And be prepared if you guys are going to do this. This is something that it will open your eye to a lot of things about you, And then they said, well, she breaks down the statistics of how many jobs that are available. Well, there's secretary jobs, there's labor jobs. She breaks them down. She'll look them up. There's 49,850 jobs that'll fit you for this. But then they start throwing in all the stuff that's hypothetical and factual stuff in there. And they were saying, well, hypothetically, if he took this job, can he have this job? And she would just sit there after that. She would say no. And I was just sitting there. I felt beaten down again. I was like, oh, my goodness. And then they were like, well, let me ask you this one thing. I had to remind them about my EpiPen, why I need it, and carried it around with me because of my idiopathic allergies. And so I said, because it's unknown what causes it. It could be anything, natural, chemical, whatever. And so then she broke down all these jobs that have like chemicals, like working at a fiberglass place or a paint booth or whatever. Those were all up. She goes, oh yeah, there's 20,000 jobs of those. But then after that, she broke it down to, well, you're not going to qualify for that at all. And then out of all the things they did, the last thing the judge and the lawyer says, how is he going to happen to manage to sit down and work if he has to get up and take a break to go wash his face and hands? And I'm sitting there at this time, my hands in my face, I'm rubbing my hands, I'm like shaking, my knees are shaking, and trying to keep myself at ease. And then she says, there is no job that's going to let him do that. I'm like, yeah, I said, even smokers, I even said, even smokers are allowed to get breaks. But I have a problem. If I could just have a washcloth, I probably could just do that. But I still need to wash my hands and face. After that, it was done. The judge thanked me. He said, you're very articulate. I didn't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. I didn't look down. I was told, I told him, I looked him straight in the eye so I could tell him, it's coming from me. It's from my heart. This is me. And I felt beaten down. I felt horrible. So I went back to the hotel room, emotionally and mentally exhausted, thinking about how much society puts value on you, and then when you get whittled away from those values, when little bit by little bit it takes a little bit out of you, and I did tell him, I said, I do host a podcast for other veterans. And he started laughing. He thought that was awesome. He goes, can you do that? I said, yeah. I said, but I'm not making any money. I said, all the proceeds will go to my partner in crime, because I don't want anything from it. And he's like, oh, really? And I said, yeah. And it's something for me to learn to socialize, get out more, get more out there to talk. And let people know what my feelings are. And he said that was a good thing. Even the lawyer said that was a fantastic idea, because every time I get to talk to you, I'm talking to other people that are listening, and they can say, hey, yeah, he has these things. I'm like that too. And then here comes my ex-wife. I know it's funny. I'm wondering if she's watching this. If she is, hi Jen, you're crazy. And
Probably will
I
watch it.
typed in, before I left. Yeah, I typed in something on my Facebook says, "Wish me luck, guys. I need it," before I left, and everybody said good luck, and all that kind of stuff. In the very bottom, she said, "You owe me money." Yes, I'm behind on child support, and now it's on rears. Because my children are over age of 20. So, and since I'm disabled, you only by law I can volunteer my amounts. So I gave her $100 a month because she allowed the alienation to happen. She wouldn't let me talk to the kids when I called, and when I was deployed and PCS to other parts of the country and all over the world, I didn't have the luxury of talking to my children. So she was like yelling and screaming the whole time. Not cap locked. It's just berating me. She said that when you first joined the military and you were trying to re-up, I remember you couldn't re-up, and it was because when you were in Korea, you got charged with rape. I was like, yeah, really? How'd that happen? How'd that go? I think I would remember if I got charged with rape. She goes, you couldn't come back. You couldn't stay in. I said, well, then why did the Army let me back in after 2 years? And I showed her DD 214 with the honorable discharge, and the ability to come back in. And I was like, if that's the case and the Army's hiring criminals, I must be a criminal. So she was just going on and on and on. And then she was like, I'm going to get your SSDI. I'm going to get half of it, which I said, fine, I don't care. I'm thinking I'm only going to get $400 a month if I'm lucky. If I get $400 a month, that's great. I don't care. That means she gets $200 a month out of that. If she gets half, I don't care. Then she'll have $300 because I voluntarily give up $100 out of my disability check. And she starts yelling and yelling. Then she goes, it's 65%. I said, well, you typed in half. So I said, okay, an extra $15 more. Big deal. She goes, yeah, you better care. I'm like, no, I don't care. I really don't care. And I asked her about, hey, remember the time you had, now that you're slinging all kinds of nasty shit at me, I threw the one about her when she was messing around behind my back and she got pregnant. And this time I didn't care. I was already out of the relationship. This is bad. This is the bad side of me. She cried one morning at 4:00 in the morning, calling me that she was pregnant. And I think it was from one of my battle buddies. And she ended up getting an abortion. So I'm like, holy cow. So I said that last night. I was like, I just found out that you were sleeping with one of my good friends. But I don't care. She goes, does that make you jealous? I'm like, no, it doesn't make me jealous. I don't care. It felt like I was at a psychiatrist's office when I was at the mental institution for my suicide, and I'm lactose intolerant, so they took away all dairy. But they had the best cakes over there. Oh my goodness, it was so good. And all the people were like, oh, but this cake sucked. But yesterday's cookies and cream was just, oh my gosh, it was so good. I was like, shut up. I get this small stupid fruit cup, And then they were like, well, how did you feel about not getting the cake? I was like, I felt like I was gypped off, because especially that my lactose intolerance wasn't that bad. They weren't going to give me any chances. But they were like, no. How did you feel? I said, you mean you want me to be enraged? Do you want me to be upset? Do you want me to stomp up and rise up and smack somebody across the face with their cake? I was like, are you crazy? I was like, no. And that's what they wanted. They wanted that reaction, just like my ex wanted that type of reaction from me. I'm like, I really don't give a shit if you take half my pay, half my SSDI. It's there so that I can pay you back. It's there so I can catch up. She's like, well, you owe me this, and I don't care. And I'm like, yeah. And she kept telling me, I'm the best you ever had. You're never going to have me again. So then I posted a picture of a collage of Joanne, and she goes, I'm a good catch, and you just want me, and you just can't have me. And I'm like, and she goes, why you put a picture up of Joanne? I go, well, I'm just trying to compare my catches. Yeah, yep. Joanne's, and she looked, and Joanne's a beautiful woman, She's thin, long, dark hair. She's half Pakistani, half white. She got a butt to kill that dies to die for. But and she didn't like that. I threw that in her face, and the whole time she was sitting there trying to tell me that she's better than me, which I never disputed the fact that she was better than me. I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. But I guess she found out that I was going for my SSDI, and she was going to make sure she got something out of it, and she wanted to make sure that I was going to be punished, But I was like, you can't punish somebody that's already been beaten down so much. You can't punish somebody that no longer cares what you say or do because you can go above that. Your words or your actions can't do anything to me. And that just made her even worse, And I consulted some of my buddies. And if Sherry, if you're listening, thank you. And sorry I didn't call you when you saw I changed my profile pic and you were concerned, but I was outside early in the morning. It was still dark. And I decided to cut some limbs off of trees that were falling. And let me tell you, when the sun came up, it was like a big, huge pile of branches everywhere. I was like freaking out because I was trapped in that little corner at 6:30 in the morning, no sunlight. And then when the sun comes up, I'm like, holy shit. So I had to put everything down and started moving everything, so I can get out. But, all in all, that today was one of those, it was a weird emotional day. Everybody has them. I guess mine came in. I'm waiting for a third one because everything comes in threes, I hope, my dad's taking a trip to New Orleans. He just left yesterday. And he'll be back for a couple of days. Then he's going to go to Tampa to go see my half sister. And I told my dad I'm going to go build a house here on the property. And he was like, yeah, but just don't do it here because he thought it was going to be too close. I was like, no. But which I hope I will be doing, taking pictures and putting it on there or doing podcasts at the same time. You can see what I'm building and stuff like that. So I'm hoping, and I got to find out through the VA if I'm allowed to get a home loan to get the stuff to put together versus having the house already have to be built and all that kind of stuff, because that is something I need to find out as well. So if any of you guys can help me, let me know, because I'm going to call the VA tomorrow and beg, borrow, and steal some questions about that. And because there's some of you guys that probably want to build a house, but I'm building mine out of those sea containers that you see all over the place. And some of these are one-time use only. They only bought them just to ship one thing, and then they keep them in port. They're trying to sell them. Some of those things are brand spanking new, and they're durable, and they can handle a hurricane. So that's what I plan on doing. So that's my story. So Heath Ryan, I'm done for the evening.
All right. Well, the other topic that I had was military PC.
Oh, I was going to tell you also before I forget, I just found out that "Baby It's Cold Outside" is an offensive song. I thought it was a new song. It's the old song that Dean Martin sang.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I was schooled a couple of days ago at the airport because I was like humming to that song, and this lady actually stopped me to tell me that's an offensive song. I'm like, no, it's not. And then I had to look it up today on why it's not offensive, or it was, or whatever. I was like, wow, people are getting offended, So I'm like, gosh, man, you can't win for losing, So, all right, go ahead, keep going, man.
Oh no, that actually ties in very good because so that's supposed to be a very rapey song. I'm like, okay, I guess so. I'm trying to understand that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is offensive now because it's exclusionary.
It's bullying.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
I have a container.
I'm telling you, our PC culture has just gone out of control.
Yeah, and it's seeping into the veterans too.
Come on, man.
Oh, hold on 1 minute. Yeah, it's seeping into the veterans too. So, a battle buddy of mine was at work, and when he was at work, he talked shit to a Marine. I guess the Marine went to management, said that my buddy, who was a former Ranger, told him he was going to beat his ass, called him a faggot, did all this, said that he should get fired. They called him in. He basically said what happened. Marine eventually gets fired for being fucking useless, just like all Marines are. But guess what, brothers and sisters? All right, here's what's up. All right, you know that we rib each other. All right, Army, Navy, Marines. Hell, we even call it the Coast Guard too. You know, I guess they are during wartime. Air Force. You know, we all make fun of each other. All right. We've always made fun of each other. Okay. Let's cut the shit. All right. We're gonna make fun of each other. If you don't like it, man up. Fucking woman up.
I always say gear up.
Huh?
I always tell them to gear up.
Yeah, shit. Gear up, lace up your boots. Fuck it. Kid out. Guess what? Tell the person that's offensive. Don't fucking go around behind the back. All right. No one is rank jumping anymore. The shit is old. The shit is done. All right. We're not fucking. This isn't fucking in the military. Okay. We're not Blue Falcons. All right. Stop being Blue Falcons as veterans. All right. Fucking Bravo Foxtrotting is done. All right. Because if you keep on fucking doing it, you're going to be a target. And if you really, guess what? If you are really offended and fucking pissed off and fucking butthurt about it,
tell your friends I'm being butthurt because I can hear them cussing. Tell them, shut up.
No, they're trying to find something.
Tell them it's in the kitchen. It's in the kitchen.
Hold on. Oh yeah.
So go ahead.
It's great. I'm just trying not to. But
hey, what they do is what they do. You know.
Yeah, I know.
It's legal. It's legal in Colorado. So hey.
Yeah.
They got glaucoma.
But yeah. So I mean, guess what? You know, you got a problem. Fucking strap up. Get outside. Beat the fuck out of each other. Be done. Fucking, you know.
Get a beer afterwards.
Fucking, and shake hands and be people. Be buddies. All right? Be family. Because that's what we're going to have to do. We can't be having motherfuckers, you know, keep getting emotional, say the wrong fucking thing, and then shit goes bad. I mean, we're already going through that right now. You know, so it's already getting to be that bad. You know, it's just it's sad. It's fucking horrible. So
yeah, by the way, Buddhist guys. I'm Buddhist. Merry fucking Christmas. Yeah. I don't get offended by that.
You know, it's funny because now we're watching the PC guys go in. We're seeing the PC guys come out. Fucking Captain Change the World. Fucking shit's not gonna happen.
Yeah, they get hell. What is it? The Army now issues patches for them because for the guys out of basic training, so they don't feel left out. For all the guys that've been deployed and have patches and stuff like that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is old, but why do I still, even that's an issue, earn the shit? It's like giving first prize ribbons, first place ribbons for just participation or participation trophies, you know? That's what I look at it as. Why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Just stop. Stop, please. God damn. So, I mean, that's all you're going to hear from me tonight before I start rambling and getting uptight.
That's just like the GWAT medal. Everyone fucking got it.
Are you absolutely 100% sure you're gonna get fucking
64 days out of AIT, or 64 days into your first command, you get a fucking GWAT.
At least you have it.
I'm like, what the fuck? And then I get fucked out. I get fucked out of my GWAT.
What it is?
Oh, I was pissed.
I don't want to spill that.
I was
Yeah,
pissed.
I don't even care anymore. It's like I'm done. So ribbons, medals don't mean nothing to me. Everything gets put in a file. I don't even put it up on my love me wall. I don't even have one. I had one for I had one for when I was with my wife. I took it all down, packed everything away. So, all right, man. What time is it now?
It is 6:33.
We're good.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us on Vet Talk. I am Heath Ryan Doi.
And co-host Mike Benge, and one and only. Soon I'm going to start ranting and raving and going into saying and just go stupid here shortly on a lot of stupid subjects.
You know
All right,
what?
guys, so bear with us.
You should. You should. Like I told you, get on your YouTube, share that, do whatever rant you want to. Share it onto the page. Once you approve yourself as admin, share it
I
on.
did. It wouldn't let me approve. It wouldn't let me approve myself.
No?
Piss me off.
Yeah, I was like pushing the button. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah,
So,
because I sent you the request. So.
Yep, and I selected one of them. There was two things you put me on, and then
Okay.
I selected it, and it wouldn't let me select it. So, well, I don't care. All righty, guys, I'm going. Good night, kids, soldiers, sailors, Marines, squids, airmen, lifeguards, all of you guys. Good night. Love you. See you
Have a
next
good
week.
one, guys. We will see you
All right.
on Sunday.
Put that in whatever.